Well, hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome our viewing audience to our very first session in 2021 of our Ed Talk series. I am Andrea Ferrari, and here with my partner, Gabriela Gonzalez Pacheco from Whole Schools International, we'd like to welcome you to this innovative space that we've created to inspire conversations around education during these unprecedented times. Education is being transformed, and at Whole Schools, we believe that it is well-being, happiness, and equity that are the keys to a sustainable change that will face the challenges and the consequences of short and long term. For this, we gather here with educational experts and leaders that will guide our educational communities with their international perspectives as we co-create the new landscape in education. And today we're very excited and very proud. We have Tom Wingate, founder and head teacher at the Wingate School in Mexico City, a British international school founded in 2016. He was educated primarily in England with a master's degree in Victorian studies from Birkbeck College, University of London. And Mr. Wingate is also an honorary member of the Charles Dickens National English Honor Society. Wingate, noted Dickens scholar, today will share some insights as we touch upon social responsibility and student leadership. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you very much, Andrea. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Excellent. Welcome as well, Gabriela.
Thank you. Thank you. We're really excited to start the new year with a new conversation. And I think today's topic is going to be very interesting. And I think Tom can enlighten us with his point of view, right, Andrea?
Exactly. And as we go into social responsibility, which is one of the pillars of the Wingate School, quote from your website, Tom, you want your students to become citizens concerned about their communities. And so during the year, many events at the school and many activities are organized to support different charities and to support their valuable work. So maybe to start our conversation today, Tom, you can tell us a little bit about what the essence behind social responsibility is and why this matters beyond the charitable work that we do, and how this will influence our students beyond the schooling experience into their adulthood.
Okay, let's unpack that. That's a lot there. A school exists beyond its school walls. Children have to go out into life so very, very soon. I look at my own grandchildren and I blink and suddenly they've grown up. So social responsibility, if we look at the motto of our school, for example, strive, work hard, right in the middle, learn. All schools, however you dress them up, it's about teaching and learning. But what do you teach? What do you learn? And the last word, serve. And in our case, serve is the action arm of our social responsibility. It's all very well to say to people, you know, be good. We're a school of character. We fuse a school of character with the curriculum. We use those teachable moments to teach honesty and resilience and all those positive things that we know serve people well in life. But if you just stay at that point and don't go beyond the school walls, as it were, then you're shortchanging things. Having a sense of responsibility, social responsibility, is so much more meaningful when it actually happens. So, for example, in our case, we have a little community near us, which I would say is pretty needy. And so we have in Mexico a thing called the DIF, which is an organization, a government organization looking after the elderly, looking after orphans, people who need a leg up in life through no fault of their own. And so our children actually have contact. You know, when we have, say, a football match with the children of the local, it could be the local primary school or some deaf children, we don't play against them. We mix the children so that they are, if we do a World Cup, we have their children, our children become the French team or the Spanish team or the Mexican team or whatever. And they go and converse with the old folk. They write to the old folk, and the old folk like keeping their letters. The old folk will come and visit us and dance for the children. So we have school walls, but really, in a way, we shouldn't. We should bring them down. I could talk more about school events, but it's those events that we have a whole host of events that allow that real human contact.
Tom, I would have that question. Do you agree?
Go ahead,
I'm sorry?
No, I said, go ahead, Gabby, please.
No, would you agree that I think not we, but in general, we tend to forget that society is created within the school's learning spaces. I mean, we could say walls, but now we are not even really within the walls, no, the physical ones. But and if we want to change the outlook of society, we just really need to work closely with those children that will be in charge of continuously creating and contributing to a different culture, I guess. So how do you think we can connect? I mean, you talked about reaching outside of the school walls, but how does that help effectively change the character of the students, I guess?
Well, you've used the right word, if I may say so. You can't give what you don't have.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're reaching out, you've got to reach within. And what is within the child? What is within you, within me? So the bedrock of everything, I believe, is the formation of character. At the Wingate School, we say, we want a great historian, we want a great geographer, we want a great mathematician. Sure, but we want a great person. So that what you have shown in the video just now, that the well-being, the roundedness, yes, this totally resonates with me and what we are as a team trying to achieve at our school. It's about the whole child. Now, if your bedrock is character really can be taught. I mean, there is the nature-nurture debate always in psychology, how much is born with us, how much do we acquire? But we can't wait for that semi-philosophical debate to occur. We've got to get stuck in. We've got to move. We've got to act. Things need to happen. And so when you ask children to step up, to be aware, I would say that the children at our school have been given a lot. And I am of the belief that if much is given to you, much is required of you. Okay. That famous long-time study at Harvard, right? Where they followed some families, some students for about 80 years. I think it's one of the longest in the world. And they're looking at that thing called happiness. What do we want to achieve in our lives? And they resolved two things: that the things that make us happy, it's not a bank balance, it's not that. Money helps, but it's not that. But it's our friendships, our real friendships we make, and the altruism, the giving, the looking out and looking after other people. That's actually what gives us our greatest contentment. So this isn't just a hunch. There's a lot of there are a lot of studies out there backing this, and the reality of talking to children about so what was it like when they come back, and so what was it like when you talk to the old folks and discuss this, that, and the other, and talk about their lives. Some of those people have been through the mill, and that human contact, that warmth, that sense of being cared for, being noted. I think one of the most horrible things in the world must be not to be loved, to be honest.
Of course. Completely.
Oh, that's a great answer. I love how you end with love, and I love how you touch upon happiness. Gabriela and I know this. Happiness is something, and few people know that it, like character, it can be taught, it can be practiced, it can be learned from a very young age. Interesting that you bring that up. You also mentioned awareness, and you mentioned reality. I want to tie that into becoming socially conscious, perhaps, is the work
Mm-hmm.
that we're doing with our littlest ones.
Mm-hmm.
Helping them become aware of group needs in order to develop empathy, and
Right.
doing this through engagement with the world, the real
Right.
world, beyond the walls of the classroom, beyond the walls of the school, so that they can understand this concept of interdependence, I think, is fundamental. And the concept also that needs to be ingrained in them when they're very young is how they too can make a difference in the world, so that, everything they're doing is working towards that bigger picture, right?
And Andrea, you should sit in this chair and I'll sit over there. Brilliant. Brilliant. That's exactly right. So, for example, this week, as we kick off the new semester here, we've got a group in called Grupo Promesa. And within Grupo Promesa is Escuela Promesa, and they're into recycling and the environment. And so even the little children, we have 3 assemblies in the week, because we have to pitch the language at a different level, of course. They're half-hour assemblies. And so they've been looking at these presentations, and it's absolutely fascinating how children are getting quite swift about this thing called their environment, that they realize that they're part of the story. It's not something top down that, the adults do all this stuff and we have no power and say in the matter. So Escuela Promesa wants them, and I agree with it, wants them to have a say. I'm not going to go anywhere near the should 16-year-olds have a vote for our politicians. That's another story. But one of the presenters the other day was talking about the whole climate change and the Sargasso phenomenon down in Cancun. I think it's a plant that came from Brazil originally, I think. Anyway, it's a rather foul-smelling algae, isn't it, or seaweed?
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
A child online in our school is right there right now. We've got children all over the place. In fact, we just hired a lady to be a teacher assistant, and she's sitting in Zambia, but she's helping our children here in Mexico. I just think that's absolutely wonderful. That international.
No way. We're in Zambia. Zambia.
Andrea, I have to check on the city. I just learned this detail today. I knew that she was Dutch, but I was informed that she's actually at the moment in Africa, in Zambia. I'll find out for you. So it's absolutely wonderful that there is that international aspect that, it's the John Donne thing, isn't it? The famous poet from just after the time of Shakespeare. No man is an island. Mm-hmm. Everything that we do is interconnected. And we have worlds within worlds. We have our family, our own family. Then we have our extended family. We have our schools. We have our communities. We're all in this together. And for children to understand that, and to know that even if it's just starting simple with a little recycling program, for example, they're part of the story. It's not, education isn't so much things done to children. It's inspiring children to bring things out of themselves. Now, I'm never going to go to Kinder 3 and say, right, okay, by the end of the month, solve pollution in Chiapas or solve pollution in Mexico City. Little by little, baby steps. Got it. That's okay. But the trick is to start, to ignite the interest, to show that we're all connected and that we all have this responsibility for each other. And it's a wonderful thing when, as I say, you talk to the children and they get, particularly when they visit the old folks, they get such a thrill from that vision, perhaps, of another Mexico. They hear some things and see some things that, in their ordinary lives, they wouldn't really connect with. So I believe in childhood. I believe in the innocence of childhood. And there are also realities that have to be shared and shown to children in an appropriate way.
I think that really brings us to the next point of the conversation, which is, then how is this piece of social responsibility so intimately linked with the concept of leadership? You mentioned it several times, because the more responsibility we give to the children, then the more ownership, and then that ownership makes them actually proud and inspires them to make a difference in the world. So how then, Gabriela and I were speaking about this last night, and she brought up a good point. She said, well, how then can we as educators help students rise to the occasion, help them rise into the leadership roles? And since you have the bigger picture of the school, then how does this happen? Like, how do we develop this this participation and these leadership skills? Maybe if we look at the classroom, if we look in the school, and then we look at the community, like the three pieces, how does this happen?
I think it's important to have a healthy mix, Andrea. So what do I mean? When we do assemblies, when we're live, it's much easier when you're doing it live. But I turn my assemblies, if I can, into a little theater, and I get participants, audience participation. So I could be, just to give you a quick example, explaining the water cycle from the oceans up into the clouds and round. And I'll get children up and I'll put a little blue smock on them, and they suddenly, they're a water molecule, and they have to move across, and the sun heats them, and then I put them up on a chair because they're vaporizing and they have to go around. And you can do all sorts of funny and goofy things, and the children remember it. Children remember things that are done, rather than, you don't want to be a talking head. You don't want to be doing what I'm doing right now, just a talking head. So you get the appropriate participation. You get children literally standing up and leading. I think one of the most important skills out there, well, there are lots of skills. I think we have lost the ability in many ways to listen. Everybody wants to shoot their mouth off. But for me, in my position, I really hope I listen to my staff, I listen to my parents, and I listen to my children. I love the student voice. I love the student voice. They can be very wise. They can be very honest. And so I listen, feed my mind to make decisions. And so I think the corollary of that is to be able to speak, speak in an informed way. So our curriculum, the International Primary Curriculum, gets children to do a cycle, using that word again, and they have to present in an exit point to their parents at least a couple of times a year. They do these 6 weeks units. It could be African mammals, great rivers of the world. That doesn't really matter so much, but it's their skills as a team, working as a team, investigating, recording in the right way, through the written word, through filming, through whatever, green screening, and being able to be confident enough to stand up and deliver. I am amazed how many adults, and particularly adults in very responsible positions in society, yammer and stammer and can't actually stand there. Some people, when you do the list of 10 most scary things in life, let's say number 7 is death, number 2 might be snakes, and number 1 is standing up and speaking in public. So one's ability to engage with an audience, to listen and to speak and to share great ideas. I think that's a confidence thing. It goes back to what I was saying before about reaching inside children, giving children skills, really practical, good skills, so that they can touch lives just as it's a cascade, just as we are trying to touch lives. All great schools, I think, should be like a cascade, touch their lives. They go out into the world, and they are going to do their work to the best of their ability and in an ethical way. As a school of character, doing the right thing. I don't want to talk politics here. You've seen the news. Just go a bit further north of Mexico and see what's been happening there. But look across the globe. There's some very unhappy situations, and we need to improve the caliber of people who are involved in the decision making. I think there are many, many, many brilliant, ethical, great people out there. We've just got to keep educating more and swamp the world with people who understand that rivalry and getting on top of other people and being militarily more powerful, but come on. we've left the Stone Age. We should have left the Stone Age. We've got to be smarter than that. And so it goes back to within, building those building blocks of character so that children are, I don't want to use the word weaponized. I don't like it, but you know what I mean. They're ready for action. They can go out there and make a difference. Now, it's step by step. You know, you encourage, try and inspire children, and you don't know which way it's going to go. I never thought I was going to be a teacher when I was a child. I'm sure I had one of those, you know, I can only be a fireman with a nice big shiny red fire engine racing through the city. I'm sure I thought like that. But here I am. I have the opportunity with my team to, in a professional way, touch lives. And I want that cascade effect in the children. Okay?
Completely. No, completely. I agree. And one thing I think it's a danger is that sometimes as educators, we get so immersed into the day-to-day and different tasks, and we lose sight of what we're hopefully, you know, contributing while inspiring tomorrow's leaders to truly engage with what's going on and try to find solutions and yeah, have a different type of leadership than what we're maybe seeing nowadays.
And I think too there, Gabriela, that you have to be a little bit careful as well, but you have to appreciate who you're dealing with. Not everybody is going to be, you know, standing at the head of their whatever army it is, you know, lawyers or political parties or companies. But everybody has a role. Everybody has a role in society. And, you know, a teacher in a classroom is an automatic leader. They're not called the head teacher, but for the children who are in front of them, that is the head teacher. That's the top of the pinnacle. So there are different kinds of number ones. I as a head teacher, I don't like calling myself a headmaster or a principal. Those are kind of power words. Yeah, I make decisions, the buck stops here, got that, understood. But sit around a round table, listen, feed your mind, inform yourself, and come to great decisions. And that's what the children have to do with these projects that they're involved with. The knowledge is confluent. They bring in the geography, the maths, the music, and apply it to, as I say, one of these themes. And almost the theme is inconsequential. I mean, it is interesting to learn about Africa or rivers, but it's those transferable skills now, isn't it? So the way it's going is our soft skills, our human relationship skills, emotional intelligence, our ability to work in a team. These are the skills that society is crying out for. Mm-hmm. And people who know how to treat other human beings well. Yes. That's where we've got to go.
I read a quote now that you mentioned that teachers are leaders, and you know, in our families, as we stand in front of our children, we're leading them. And I wrote this quote about being a leader is having the ability to inspire or to make that person reach their best, their greatest potential. So being a great leader is having that ability to bring out from the people that you're with their best by giving your best. So very inspiring, everything you're saying to us, Tom. And maybe along those lines, and for the educators that are watching us this evening, we could leave them with some advice, maybe some steps, baby steps or first steps of how they can begin to work towards a school culture that drives this sort of leadership, that fosters social responsibility, that fosters character.
Okay.
Maybe that's with some of that. We've got about 5 minutes left just to do a time check around our conversation. Yeah.
All right. You've got to realize as an educator, everybody's watching you. Everybody should have high expectations of you. you should have high expectations of yourself and of the team that you build around you. No school is a personality. The school is a culture, and the culture is a conglomeration, isn't it? It's a collection of like-minded people, not clones, but people who know the institution's mission statement and its values, and they're pulling the rope in the same direction. And that's how you choose your families as well, because I'm not saying that I'm totally right, but a family that joins the school has to understand this is the direction that we're going in. If they're pulling the other way, it's not going to work. I think collegiality in a school is a fantastic thing. So I say to my teachers, I demand very few things of you. I'm not a finger-wagging kind of boss. But I say to teachers, a great idea shared is a great idea duplicated, not diluted. It multiplies. I want, among my students, respect. They sign actually a document in front of me, in front of the teacher, and they have a special kind of a diary that's signed by whoever. Their parents can go in, they go in, I go in. It's a special kind of super diary, homeworks and all the rest of it. We call them home learning, opportunities for home learning. And it's about respect. And if they get respect right, I don't need a telephone directory of rules. If they go wrong, they're not going to go far wrong. If they really are aiming to respect one another. We also try and build a community. Partly this is by luck. We have a very international community in the school. And so we have children who have very different backgrounds and different cultures, different religions or none. And tolerance, the T word, trust, tolerance, these are huge in our school. So give children opportunities to demonstrate that. Catch them being right. Don't catch them as it were being wrong. They will do wrong things, but that's an opportunity to turn it around, to do the right thing. We work with the School of Character. Look up, if you wish, the works of Dr. Thomas Lickona, Lickona, from New York University. You're probably very familiar with him. It is very inspiring stuff. He knows my deputy head very well, and we have fused, I think uniquely, but hopefully other people are doing it, we have fused the curriculum with the IPC in our primary school. And now we're growing our high school, and the School of Character is going nowhere. It's still there. So pay attention, educators, I would say, to little details, because they all stick together to form the big things. Try out some ideas, and guess what? If they don't work, try something else. I love the quotation from our friend Mr. Einstein, who said that if you want to make children intelligent, read them fairy tales. And if you want to make them really intelligent, keep reading them fairy tales. So when you get a great idea, your fairy tale, keep reading it. Keep banging that drum. If you know something works, don't try and reinvent the wheel. Pay attention to the children's children. They're not number 27 in the West Wing on the 3rd floor. Know them. Know a little bit about their families. Engage with them as their children, but treat them as young adults. They've got great minds. They've got great aspirations. They want to do wonderful things with their lives. Encourage them. Be upbeat for them. Be there for them. I try not to be in my office. I try to be out in the halls, in the classroom, sit down by a kid. Hey, how's that math problem going? See if I can do it with you. You know, we're in this together. We're in this together. It's not an us and them. It's not the school versus the families. You can get in kind of knock heads sometimes, can't you? In situations where you have a school policy and it doesn't kind of work so well with the family. Pull people together. Give people the reasons why you do things. Be rational about things. That's probably taken up the time, I think, Andrea. Sorry, I was a bit of a roll there.
No,
you were inspired.
It's wonderful
Inspired.
to learn
So.
from you. You're so gifted in history and literature, and the way that you come across by telling these stories and anecdotes. It really is enriching, and it really brings to life the very meaning and the very reason, the concepts behind the things that we're speaking of. They come to life through the way you tell them, through the characters, through the teachers at your school, through your community, your parents, your children. So congratulations.
You know, Andrea, because you know me, but in my life, I went into this profession not to sit in this chair. I'm actually upstairs, not in my school, in an office upstairs in my home. Not to sit in this chair, but I was a teacher of English. I'm going to tell you a secret. I don't actually like teaching English too much. I love teaching English through literature, through those situations where people have to make decisions. Which way are they going to jump? Which way? What would I do? And the distillation of our existences in the great writers, like I'm a real fan of Dickens, for example. They inform me. People are people are people. You can go back centuries, and people are people are people. And so, you know, they're very well loved, the Shakespeares and the Dickenses, because, you know, they've got it. They get under people's skin. They show us how we tick. And so I use in my teaching. I'm actually not teaching English at the moment. I'm teaching history in Form 1 and Form 2 in my school. But that literature underpins a lot of what I can actually show and demonstrate. So one of the best ways my children can advance in the school is I say, you know, I'm building 2 libraries. You know, I love this technology. Don't get me wrong. I was speaking to Bea earlier on, very nice producer, but I'm still really a bookman. You know, give me a really good Victorian novel. You heard that I've done some studies in Victorian studies. Oh, I'm in heaven when I do that. I love it because it informs, it educates in such a warm and how can I put it, inspiring way. It's highly enjoyable to learn that way through literature.
Completely, yeah.
Well, an excellent way to close. You leave us with great inspiration, Tom. And
it's great being here.
Thank you for giving us this space. Thank you for being so generous with your time. We know that you have different events going on. It's the start of the year, picking back up everything where you left off, and we have no doubt that great things are coming your way. The best is yet to come for the Wingate School. We're really happy to have this opportunity, and it's really wonderful to see you and to hear you. You are a leader with a great heart, and we love this. Thank you for this opportunity, Tom.
You're most kind, and to all the people who helped put this on, Bea, Gabriela, to Andrea, thank you so very much. It's been most enjoyable, and thank you to the folks out there on the screen. It's been wonderful to share the craft. And next time I'll be the guy with these, and I'll be the one who will enjoy listening, because I need to do a lot of listening.
Hey, hooray, well done. We'll see you next time, everybody. Take care. Happy 2021.
Thank you. Igualmente.
Okay.